Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful top. It is a built-up collar top with buttons in front. I used a Milano fabric for this style. You can also use a crepe, and I used about 1.5 yards for this top. If you're making it together with a pants, you will need about 3.5 yards. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in, and to my returning subscribers, thank you for always coming back to my channel to watch my videos. Now let's jump right into the cutting and the sewing of this top. I am starting with the back pattern. I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the waist line, and the full length of the top. There won't be zip allowance on this back pattern. Shoulder to the chest line is 8.5 inches, to the waistline is at 16 inches, and to the full length of the top is at 22 inches. I tightened the center back with 0.75. I'll go in with the shoulder measurements divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I'll mark it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I'll connect with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with the neckline width and the neck depth. I'll go in with a neck depth of 1 inch and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with a curve. I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. On the chest line, I'll go in with the bust measurements divided by 4. And from the shoulder slant, I'll divide what I have left into 2 and get the midpoint. At the midpoint, I'll go in by 0.5, and I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. On the waistline, I'll go in with the waist measurements divided by 4, and I'll add 1 inch allowance for that. And at the full length, I'll go in with the hip measurements divided by 4. I'll connect all those points together now with my curved ruler. The next thing is to go in with the bust span measurements divided by 2. I'll mark it on the waistline, at the full length line, and from the chest line, I'll come down by 1 inch. That is where I'll put the measurements, and I'll connect those 3 points together with a straight line. I added 1 inch allowance for that to the waist measurement, so I'll come out by ½ inch on both sides of the dart leg at the waistline, and I'll connect to the top and bottom like so. I'll be making use of a princess dart for this back pattern, so now from the shoulder slant there, I'll come down by 4 inch and I'll make a point there. I'll connect that point into the dart line like so. Here I am just remarking the armhole so that by the time I cut out the pattern and I am about to join it back, there won't be any shortage. From the side here, I'll go up by 1 inch and I'll connect with a curve into the hemline. That is all on this back pattern. I'll cut it out now. After cutting, label your patterns like I'm labeling mine, the center back and the side back. For the front pattern, the first thing you have to do is to leave a space of about 5 to 6 inches at the top of your paper, and at the side leave about 1 inch at the side of the paper. That is the first thing you're going to do before the shoulder line and before the center line. So I have the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust line, the waistline, and the full length of the top. Shoulder to the chest line is at 8.5 inches, to the bust line is 10.5 inches, to the under bust line is at 14 inches, to the waistline is at 18 inches and to the full length of the top is at 24 inches. The difference between the front and the back half length is 2 inches, and that is what will be taken in as bust dart in the front pattern. Now I have marked the shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus 0.5 inch for seam allowance. I marked it on the shoulder line and also on the chest line, and I connected with a straight line. Next, I'll go in with a neck depth of 7 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with my ruler. I'll come down by 1.5 inches for the shoulder slant, and I'll connect with a straight line into the neck width. On the chest line, I'll go in with a bust measurement divided by 4. I'll go up by 3 inches, and from that 3 inches point, I'll come in by 0.75. I'll connect those 3 points together to form the armhole. On the waistline, I'll go in with a waist measurement divided by 4, and I'll add ½ inch for ease. I won't be adding a waist dart to this front pattern. Now at the full length line, I'll go in with the hip measurement divided by 4, and I'll connect all those points together with my ruler. Make sure that you don't have any pointy part on the waistline. You can blend it well with your ruler. Just like I did with the back pattern, I'll go up by 1 inch at the side hem, and I'll connect it into the center front like so. I'll mark the bust span measurements at the bust line so that I can take in the bust dart. So I'll come down by 2 inches from the bust line, and I'll connect with a straight line into the bust point like so. The next thing is to bring in the back pattern so that we can measure out what we have on the neckline, so that we can use it to construct the collar that will go from the front all the way to the back. Measure out what you have on the back neckline, and that is what you are going to extend from the front shoulder. After measuring, I have 3.75 there. From the shoulder tip there, I'll mark the 3.75 in a slant form, and I'll connect with a straight line. I'll come out by 0.5 inch there so that the collar can sit well on the neckline, and I'll connect with a straight line like so. Now for the collar width, I used 4 inches here, but I later altered this 4 inch, but just come along with me and you'll see when I altered it. After marking the collar width there, I'll mark it below like so as a guide for me to connect into the neckline. I decided to go in a little bit, and I'm remarking it now. So I'll make use of this new one, and I'm crossing out the old one. For the button allowance, from the center line there, I have 1 inch, so I'm just going to extend the neckline into the button allowance, and that is all for the button placket there. And the next thing I'm going to do is to move to the bottom part of this pattern, because if you look at the thumbnail, you'll see the shape we have at the front of the top. So now from the center front, I'll come down by 6 inches. That is what I will use as the front extension. And I connected with a straight line into the button allowance, but I realized that it won't give me the V shape I want in front. From the bottom part, I went in by 1.5 and I connected with a straight line into the button allowance. And from the side hem also, you are going to connect with a straight line to meet the center front like so. That is all on the front pattern. I'll cut it out now. Like I said earlier, I feel like the collar width is a lot. 4 inches is a lot, so I am reducing it to 2.5 inches, and you can also reduce it to 2 inches. I will use a green marker so that you can see the changes I am making to it. And from the neckline width there, I'll go in by 1 inch, and I'll connect from the top to this new line at the bottom like so. My fabric is on fold and I have pinned the front pattern onto the fabric. Now I'm going to make slash lines from the waist all the way down like so. I'm going to make 2 slash lines so that we can open it up and add some pleats to that part. So just create 2 slash lines like so, and I'll open it up now. The space in between each of the pattern will be 1 inch. That will be for the pleats I'll add to the side there. So I'll just measure 1 inch in between each of the slash lines and I'll pin it down. The next thing is to add my allowance to this pattern. For the side allowance, I'll add 1.5 inches. For the rest of the pattern, I'll add ½ inch all around the patterns. But for the side, I'll add 1.5 inches. For the other sides of the pattern, you can see I already added my ½ inch all around the pattern. So now I'll just cut it out. What I am doing here is to notch the bust dart. It will make it easy for me by the time I am about to stitch. And please take note of the bust point. You can put a pin to indicate the bust point and use your chalk to mark on the fabric. And also take note of the length of the bust dart. And for the pleats on the side here, I am notching it so that I will know where exactly to pleat. I'll go ahead and cut out lining for this front piece, and I'll also transfer the back pattern to fabric and cut out my lining also. For the back pieces, this is it after transferring to fabric, and I added the necessary allowance all around the pattern, and for the side joining I also added 1.5 inches. I've taken out the pattern from the fabric now, and you can see that I added fusible interfacing to all the pieces. These are my back pieces, and I added fusible interfacing to all the pieces. So now I'll pin it exactly the way I'll stitch. I'm pinning the center back first together, and I'll go ahead and stitch with ½ inch allowance. After pinning the center back, I'll pin the side back to it also on both sides. I'll pin the side back and I'll go ahead and stitch with ½ inch. These are the lining pieces for the back, and you can see that for the upper part of the lining I used the main fabric as the lining, and for the lower part I used my lining. And I cut out the lining the same way I cut out the main fabric. I'll go ahead and pin it the same way I pinned the main fabric, and I'll take it to the sewing machine and stitch it. For the two front pieces, I have added fusible interfacing to it also. This is the main fabric because I added interfacing, and the first thing I'll do is to go ahead and take in the bust dart and also pleat the bottom part there. Don't forget that there will be two pleats there, so you do the same thing to the other front piece. These are my lining pieces, and same thing I did with the back pattern. I used the main fabric as for the upper part of the lining. I'll go ahead and take in the darts on this lining piece and also take in the pleats at the bottom also. This is after I was done with the plate, and this is what it is looking like after I pressed it properly. Don't forget that from the bust point, you go out by 1 inch. That is where the dart will stop. Don't let your dart stop on the bust point exactly. And to hold down your pleat, iron interfacing to secure the pleat down at the bottom. You can see what I did there. And this is what the main fabric is looking like. The next thing is to go ahead and join this part together. Join it together with 1/2 inch. And this is what the lining piece is also looking like. I've taken in the darts on the lining also, and I used the interfacing to secure the pleats at the bottom. And just like I did with the main fabric, I'll go ahead and join it together at the top with 1/2 inch. This is what the back piece is looking like. I have pressed the seam flat, and this is what the right side is looking like. And for the lining piece also, I have done the same thing, and this is what we have. After joining the two front pieces together, this is what we have. I'll bring in the back piece now so that we can join it together with the front. Now you're going to match the center back to the joining you have on the front. Match it together and pin it down. And you're just going to pin the shoulders together like so. Do it for both sides and go ahead and stitch with 1/2 inch. I'll repeat the same process for both the lining of the front and the back, and I'll bring it back and show you. After joining the front and the back pieces together, this is what we have. So go ahead and press the seam flat like I did with mine. And this is the lining for both the front and the back. Now I'll place the main fabric on the lining. And what I'm going to do here is just to join it all around from the neckline all the way around the top. So just carefully pin it round. Make sure that every point is matching on both the front and the back. Make sure that every point where you have a stitch is matching up, and carefully pin it all around. You're going to use the lining to turn the neckline. The front hem and the back hem. So just take your time to carefully pin it round and go ahead and stitch. This is after I was done stitching, but I went ahead to press it properly, and while pressing the neckline you can add hemming gum to it so that it stays nice and flat. And this is what we have now. So the next thing is for me to join the sides together. So I'll go ahead and use 1.5 inches to join the sides together. I am done joining the sides here, and I went ahead to use my overlocker to finish up the raw edges. And this is what it is looking like. Don't forget that you are going to add your buttonhole and button to this front, to the center front. Add your button and your buttonhole. And the last thing is for me to cut out the sleeve. For the sleeve cutting, this is my basic sleeve pattern. If you don't know how to cut your basic sleeve pattern, I'll put the video I made on how to cut a sleeve in the description box so that you can watch it and know how I made mine. This sleeve is a 3/4 sleeve and the length I have there is about 18 inches, and I have transferred my sleeve to fabric. I added ½ inch allowance around the pattern, and for the hem I added 1 inch, and I have also cut out my lining. My lining is 1 inch shorter than the main fabric. I'll take out the pattern from the fabric now so that we can see what we have. Now I'll take it to the sewing machine and use the lining to turn the main fabric. After turning it at the bottom, I'll do the same thing at the side and I'll bring it back and show you. This is to show you the way I joined it. After joining at the bottom, you are going to flip it like this and join the side also. And after joining, you have to iron it properly. So I'll take it to the ironing table now and press it properly. Once I flip it to the right side, this is what you should be having. This is after pressing, and you can see the difference in when you press it and when you don't press. This is why I always emphasize on pressing every seam. Every seam that you make on a fabric, you have to press. The last thing is for me to attach this sleeve to the blouse. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification bell so you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.